Why would anyone want stability? That's a question I've been pondering a lot lately because I talk about rewiring the brain, stabilizing the nervous system, self talk, neuroplasticity, you know, and I realized that this was a really interesting thing. People really don't want stability. Do you want stability? I realize people really don't want stability. That's not what you're looking for. And that realization, that is today's stability moment. So bear with me as I go through my notes and think through this, because this was quite, I'm going through this. Can you tell I'm going through this transformation? By the way, this is day 75 of 365. So here's the realization. For this entire 75 days and the work that I've been doing, the course, the 6 weeks to stability and empowerment. So much longer than that, and everything that I have been doing for quite a while. It's what I've been talking about: stability, rewiring, the nervous system, neuroplasticity, and empowerment, like all really important things that are important. I would think that you would agree with me that those are important things for transformation and changing our lives. And what I realized, and this was my realization, is when I think about, it's like, what are all these things? If I put them all together, what are they? And they're the bridge. They're the bridge to the destination. And they're not the destination. They're the bridge. And so what I kind of started laughing with myself about is the more that I talk about these things, I started thinking that I didn't wake up saying, I want more regulation of my nervous system. I don't think you wake up saying, I really want to tap into neuroplasticity to rewire my brain. I just don't think it is. Although I did wake up after, Lynette and I were talking about stability. It's like, we want the era of stability. Lynette said she wanted the summer of stability, and we just wanted to feel stable. So yeah, we woke up and said, we want to feel stable. But we weren't looking at all the things. We were looking for normalcy is what we were looking for. And so the other thing people don't say, I want more subconscious rewiring, and I want it now. No, that's not what people want. Is they want connection to self, connection to others. They want peace. They want happiness. I was thinking, what are the things that I wanted, and what most people want? My clients, what do they want? They want self-trust, self-belief, self-confidence, healthy self-esteem. They want possibility, that possibility exists for them. So, and the biggest thing is they want access to the life they really want to live. And so I asked, so here's my question. Okay. What is instability? Like, what was instability costing me? So I'll ask you, what is instability costing us, costing you? And it's like, not financially, not emotionally, but what is it costing mentally and energetically? And how many days have been lost worrying, and how much confidence has been lost because of challenging experiences? And how much peace have you lost by spiraling out of control and being in the state of the programmed reactor rather than the internal operator? And that's the PDF, by the way, that you can download free. So and here's another one. How much joy has been lost or delayed because we were stuck? Stuck longer than necessary, something that took us off our path and we just couldn't get back on the path. And I look at those things like how many days, like the opportunities, and how much peace. And I'm just going over these, and it's like, these are the hidden costs of living in a destabilized space. So I was trying to figure out, like, how does this look? Because life is always going to happen. We're always going to be lifing. That's what happens on planet Earth. Planet Earth is a planet of action. And the one thing, and I'll continue to tell you this, the only thing that you can count on, the only thing, well, let me tell you the two that you can't count on: death and taxes. That's how I was raised. These are the two things you can count on. Well, people see death differently, whether it is death or not death, and then people will do what they will with their taxes. But I'm telling you, the one constant is change. You can count on change happening. That's how we life. That's how we grow. That's how we move. So the real question is, plans are going to change. Unexpected things are going to happen. My mom used to say, well, there's a saying that the greatest plans of man, God will blow them up or something. I don't know. Like the best laid plans or something like that. But anyway, so here is, I'm kind of looking at my notes because I don't want to go off track, but I also have things that I want to say, and I do this all the time. But anyway, the destabilization, is that really the problem? And I don't think that it is. I think the real question is, how long does it take us to find our way back to self, our way back to center, our way back to feeling at peace and not feeling that the effects of the destabilization? How long does it take us to get back? And the things that are not permanent is like confidence and joy, and these things, states are constantly changing. So these states of happiness, joy, peace, it's always changing. A state, everything is in motion. Everything is energy. But if you say that confidence and joy and peace, if we say that these things are not permanent, they're not these permanent states where we're always in a state of peace, then could not the ability to return to these states, could that not become a skill that you would want, that you would desire? And that's why stability isn't the destination. It's the bridge to get to the destination of the joy, of the peace, of the happiness. That's what I've been, confidence and these types of things. This is what we want. We want connection. We want connection to self. These are the things that are important to us. So this is why stability matters, because that's the bridge. That's the bridge to get to the other side. And once we have that, once we feel stabilized, then we can rewire our brain with the programs that we choose, and they'll stick. And then we are empowered to have that, because of the rewiring, which helps, and because we have a stabilized nervous system. Again, bridges. then we are empowered. We feel that self-trust, the belief in self, and our, call it resilience, but it's really our bounce back time is much less. It takes us way less. It takes me way less time when I'm lifing and my world gets turned upside down, or something's, something eventful happens that throws me off my path, off my center. It could take me seconds. It could take me minutes. It could take me hours. But it won't take me days and weeks and months and years like it used to, because I've been doing this practice. I am practicing the skill of stabilizing my nervous system. And so I bounce back more quickly. So here is, this is funny, not funny, but stability gives us access to the life. This just made me laugh. I'll just share it and you see how you feel. But stability gives us access to the life instability keeps taking away. Because that's exactly, when I was pondering this, it was like, well, stability, and I came to the conclusion, that's the bridge. Yet, when we feel unstable, we're not living the life that we want to live. And we want to get back to joy and happiness and peace. And so this is why stability is the bridge to get there. And that's why I kept pondering, like, you don't want stability. Like, that's not, you don't wake up and say, I want more stability in my life. Actually, you might, like I say that I did. But I don't think anyone wakes up and says, I really want subconscious rewiring of my brain today. I say this and then I kind of start laughing, because I have said many, many times that I do want stability, and I have said many, many times that I do want to rewire my brain. In fact, that's why for many years, I was saying that. But I think I'm kind of nerdy and kind of weird like that. I don't think, maybe you probably wake up and say, I want to rewire my subconscious brain today. I want to rewire my subconscious. So anyway, here is your self-talk phrase. No matter what happens, I know how to find my way back to myself. No matter what happens, I know how to find my way back to myself. So this is, no matter what happens, I know how to find my way back to myself. And that is telling your brain that no matter what happens, you're coming back to self as you define self. And that is back to center. So that when the world throws you for a curveball, it's not that you don't feel it. Like, it's not that I don't feel what's happening or have a life that will, somebody says something and will it trigger me or irritate me or something like that? Sure. But, whatever it is, or something happens in my life, there's, trying to, as I've mentioned, my stability moments. And the stability moments, I've been using my own life because they happen all the time and you get to choose. That's a stability moment. How do I want to handle that? How do I want to become the internal operator? Work from that state? Or do I want to be the programmed reactor, and the programmed reactor spirals down to their basic programming and the internal operator spirals up? That's the model, the stability spiral model, which is always free. Just download that. And you can see how to stop the spiral in real time when you start spiraling. You can read through that, go through any of the other videos. But I just wanted to talk about the bridge, because I was really thinking, I love bridging things. I think, and a lot of times, like, I always thought that self-talk, that was it when I found it. Years ago, I was like, oh my gosh, Ruse, how did this is so foundational. And it is. but it's a mechanism and it's a bridge to get you where you want to go. Stability. It's when after Steve passed, I was so unstable, and I desperately wanted stability. And I wanted to feel stable. I didn't want to feel like I was on this rolling ship where I couldn't get my footing. And so I did wake up saying, I really want to feel stable today. And you may at times too, when life knocks you off, because that is the one thing on planet Earth is change that will knock us off of our footing. It'll knock us, could just like sweep a rug, pull the rug out under our feet, or, where we think everything is normal and everything else. And then, something happens, right? Change. Because there's nothing outside of us that we can control, and there's nothing outside of us that can bring us that stability, which is why I always talk to you about there's nothing outside of you that can save you. There's nothing outside of you that's going to stabilize you. When you don't own anything outside of you. Steve was my stabilizer. I didn't know that prior. I knew that I felt stable with him and felt good, and it was normal, and felt cared for, and just all the things that we want, to feel safe, and like all those things that are important to us. And then I didn't expect him to not be here anymore with me. And then all of a sudden, I'm not safe. And I don't have my confidant, and I don't have my best friend, and I don't have my companion to do things with, and I don't have the knowledge that he had in order to do all those things. And so my life was just turned upside down. And that Steve was an external stabilizer. Steve was my husband, his name. And so now that I know that was an external stabilizer, doesn't mean you don't have relationships and all of that, and have favorite places you go to, and you have your home and all of that. But when you place that's what creates the stability for you, you're in trouble. Because very impermanent, very temporary things on planet Earth. So that's why I've been pondering all of this. And this is why this is why I keep coming, this is why I will not stop teaching it, because when you develop the skill of choosing the internal operator to spiral up, rather than your programs, just your subconscious programming that is negative, harmful, the majority of it, negative, harmful, counterproductive, self-sabotaging, or sabotages you, or stops you or slows you down, any of those things. Those are the majority of the programs running. Lack, scarcity, all those things, programs. But that's the spiral down. But when you catch yourself in these stability moments where you get to choose, how am I going to respond to these things? And if you stabilize your nervous system first, then you don't have that cascading effect in your body chemically, this chemical concoction of adrenaline from your adrenals and your, and the cortisol that is literally flooding your body saying, run, freeze, fight. You don't have that because you slow it down or stop it from happening. And then from there, you create a micro-stability of the breath, a vagal breath, or, the touching something, like touching the table or putting your feet down on the table, down on the table, on the floor, so that you feel like I'm here, I'm safe. Basically giving your nervous system, saying, I'm safe, everything's okay, or I'm okay. Things might not be okay at the moment, but I'm okay right now. And you get yourself to that place, and that starts to become your default. And that's an important default. That's what I try to share with you. And this is why I'm like, I keep checking, how am I saying this? Am I getting am I sharing, I want to say coherently, but I mean, I'm just trying to get my message across. And I really think that when you understand, when I tell you that what's like that you don't want stability, yeah, we all want to feel stable, but that's the bridge to what you really want on the other side. And what you want on the other side is joy, peace, happiness, connection. Those are the things that we want. Freedom. Those are the things that we want. And when we feel stable, then we don't have the stress or the worry. We're not in survival mode then, are we? Because now we're joyful and feeling free and having connection, meaningful connection to self, to others. We're having all that. So that's why that's what's on the other side. That's why stability is a bridge, as is self-talk, because when you are rewiring the brain, but when you rewire the brain, you literally are changing, you're wiring in programs through repetition that you want, like having a quality life, having a healthy self-esteem, creating strong financial programs. So your financial strength, your health and your wellness, creating programs to support you in your brain. You keep putting in those phrases that help you to rewire your brain. So that's also a bridge. That's a mechanism, but it's a bridge to get you to happiness, freedom, to connection, to joy, those things. And so that's what we want. And peace, those are the things that we want. So that's why I say it's a bridge. And to be unstable, what's that hidden cost? That hidden cost is your inability to feel safe, stable, and with a rewired brain that supports you so that you feel peace and happiness and connection and all the things that you really want. Joy. That's a story. How was that? So that's really what it is. That's where we're at. So anyway, I read you your self-talk phrase. Let me make sure that where did I put that? I'll just read it one more time. And no matter what happens, I know how to find my way back to myself. And I'll leave you with that. I love you so very, very much. You can do, be, change, have, create, become absolutely anything. You can do this. I believe in you. And tomorrow is day 76 of 365, as always, shining my light to brighten yours. See you tomorrow. Ciao.